fuckers are so in tune with nature that they'll make a bird sound and the bird will show you where the honey is. And then there's a pack of 50 dogs following us, and the dogs aren't pets, they're hunting tools. So the dogs are the first line of defense. They sniff it out, and I'm like, I'm on a fucking insane experience right now. If I walk with one of the kids, it's like him giving me a tour of his house. He's like grabbing a snake and biting his head off. He's like, you want some? He takes out his slingshot, a pebble this big, bam, hits a fucking bush baby out of the tree, breaks his leg, puts it here. He's like, snack for later. And I'm like, I'm on a fucking insane experience right now. There was like a Catholic priest that set up a mission in that area. I met him. He's been trying to convert the Hadza to Catholicism for 20 years. And he's like, they use the Bible pages to smoke weed.
Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. The governor of Minnesota's so whacked out. I'm not calling. Why would I call him? I could call him and say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
Imagine walking through the wilderness with a tribe so in tune with nature that they don't just live in it, they command it. One of them whistles a bird call, and suddenly an actual bird shows up to lead you straight to honey. I'm not exaggerating. This is their daily reality. And while that's happening, there's a pack of 50 dogs trailing behind us. But don't think pets. These aren't golden retrievers waiting for belly rubs. They're hunting tools, the tribe's frontline soldiers, sniffing out threats before anyone else even notices.
Walz is out there talking again.
These are bad guys, though. These are bad guys.
Did he say he could fight any Trump supporter?
Yeah, he says he kicked their ass. And
I think I could kick most of their ass. I do think that.
They're scared of him because he could fix a truck.
I think I scare them a little bit why they spend so much time on it.
They're threatened by his masculinity. I know how to fix a truck.
No, I'm serious because I can fix a truck. They know I'm not bullshitting.
Do you? I bet you don't.
How do we push some of those guys back under a rock? You don't think it's racism and misogyny?
I bet if I bring a broken truck to you and a bag of tools, you're fucked.
Tim Walz is now saying about Trump supporters, and forgive me, I'm just reading a quote from Tim Walz, I think I could kick most of their ass.
Oh boy, he'd be in trouble.
Is there any way to know?
Well, he's a loser. The guy's a loser.
I'm standing there, realizing I've walked straight into an insane, once-in-a-lifetime experience. For them, it's Tuesday. For me, it's like stepping onto the set of the wildest documentary never aired. I walk alongside one of the kids, and he's treating this like he's giving me a house tour. Only instead of showing me the living room, he casually grabs a snake, bites its head off, and asks if I want some.
Complete pathological liar.
Let's be honest, there are outsiders coming into communities, stealing and moving jobs away, and making life harder for people living there. And they have names, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
Complete liar. Lied about being in Tiananmen Square, lied about being a head coach of a football team.
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prosecutor. Kamala Harris talked about going in that courtroom for the first time.
Pathological liars, people that are habitual liars, they just lie all the time about everything. Yeah. Oh, you didn't deploy for war. You didn't. Why are you saying you deployed at war? The weapons you used in war? No, you were in war.
I plan on waking up on November 6th with Madam President.
I want to be clear, you won't be waking up together.
No, you weren't a head coach, you were the water boy. What the fuck are you talking about?
I thought some of that was weird.
Before I can even process that, he whips out a slingshot, fires a pebble the size of my thumbnail, and takes down a bush baby from a tree. Breaks its leg, tucks it under his arm, and with a straight face goes, "Snack for later." Meanwhile, my brain is screaming, "What is happening right now?" And as if that's not enough culture shock, I hear about a Catholic priest who's been trying—
The video of him taking down the Minnesota flag and he replaced it with the new flag that looks a lot like the Somali flag. Minnesota has a huge population of Somalis in it.
Oh, wait a minute.
So he gets the flag, picks it up, moves it out of the way, and replaces it. Look at this.
There, that's better.
Why is that better?
I don't know.
trying to convert this tribe for 20 years. 20 years. You'd think persistence would pay off. But here's the plot twist. They literally use pages of the Bible to roll up and smoke weed. I mean, talk about reading scripture in a whole new way. It hits me. This tribe isn't just surviving. They're rewriting the meaning of raw, unapologetic freedom. And then
convinced they've just solved the economy.
Scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye. Just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans.
I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even if
The governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, feels sorry for him. But they made a bad choice with him.
Start thinking about how disconnected the rest of us are. We build cities, argue about Wi-Fi speed, debate politics in air-conditioned rooms. These kids, they're running around with slingshots and treating snakes like appetizers. And somehow they feel more alive, more real, than half the politicians giving speeches about progress.
You seen that video?
No.
This is what people love about Donald Trump. The fact that he would say this.
But unfortunately, Governor Walz isn't here himself, but don't worry, he'll say that he was. He's going to say he was. I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have, period, but then I met Tim Walz.
Which brings me to the surreal crossover of this whole story. Because while these kids are using pebbles as weapons and pages of scripture as rolling papers, halfway across the world you've got American leaders pretending they're pioneers. But every time they talk, it's just buzzwords, photo ops, and promises that sound strong until you realize nothing ever gets done. It's wild. On one hand, you've got survival stripped down to its purest form. On the other, you've got leaders who couldn't survive a day without a teleprompter telling them what to say. And this contrast, raw survival versus staged politics, is where things get really interesting. Because once Joe Rogan and Donald Trump get involved, the roast session takes on a whole new level. So picture this. You've just seen kids in Africa biting the heads off snakes and turning bush babies into snacks for later. Now jump across the globe, Joe Rogan and Donald Trump sitting together, tearing apart a politician who couldn't light a campfire if his life depended on it.
And honestly, it was a very nice looking family. But his brother endorsed me, and the whole family endorsed me. I said, who are all the people? There's something weird with that guy. He's a weird guy. JD is not weird. He's a solid rock. I happen to be a very solid rock. We're not weird. We're other
on it. The contrast is brutal, and that's exactly why it works. Rogan starts picking at the seams of the carefully staged image. He doesn't even have to try hard. The Midwest politeness, the slow answers, the endless studies and committees, Rogan treats them like open mic material. Every empty pledge becomes a punchline. Every staged photo op looks faker than reality TV. And the crowd, they eat it up. Trump, on the other hand, doesn't roast with surgical precision. He drops nukes. He calls Tim Walz a loser, a weird guy, and goes after him like it's a sport. The man doesn't miss a chance to mock, and Walz makes it so easy. This is the governor who claimed he was in Tiananmen Square, except he wasn't. Claimed he coached football, except he didn't. Claimed he
It's a big one, man.
Stolen valor and all that stuff.
Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August. Can you explain that discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke. And we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
When Tim Walz was asked by his country to go to Iraq, you know what he did? He dropped out of the army and allowed his unit to go without him.
Deployed to Iraq, except he left before his unit shipped out. You can't make this stuff up. Rogan laughs because it's comedy gold. Trump laughs because it's political ammo. And together they peel away the shiny Minnesota Nice branding until what's left looks less like leadership and more like a high school theater kid pretending to be a war hero. The metaphors almost write themselves. Walz moves through politics like a guy who thinks every meeting is a chili cook-off contest. He introduces policies with the excitement of someone who just solved the economy on the back of a diner napkin, only for it to collapse like a dollar store lawn chair. He buys overalls just for the campaign photo op, then probably donates them to Goodwill as soon as the cameras are gone. And the crazy part? He sells this whole act with a straight face. That's what drives Rogan insane. He talks, Rogan says, like he's unveiling
picture. And honestly, it was a very nice looking family. But his brother endorsed me, and the whole family endorsed me. I said, who are all the people? There's something weird with that guy. He's a weird guy. JD is not weird. He's a solid rock. I happen to be a very solid rock. We're not weird. We're other things perhaps, but we're not weird. But he is a weird guy. He walks on the stage, and there's something wrong with that guy. And he called me weird. And then the fake news media picks it up. That was the word of the day. Weird, weird, weird. They're all going, but we're not weird guys. We're very solid people that want our country to be great again. I mean, it's very simple.
Groundbreaking ideas. But really, he's just reading toaster instructions with more confidence than sense. Trump jumps in. The guy's obsessed with buzzwords: community, equity, inclusion. He throws them around like duct tape, slaps them on every failed policy, and hopes no one notices the budget bleeding faster than a leaky bucket. It's roast comedy at its finest. Raw, unscripted, and hilarious. The same way a Hadza kid can casually break a Bush baby's leg without blinking, Rogan and Trump casually break down Walz's political persona until it's unrecognizable. And the audience? They're hooked. Because deep down, people already suspect politics is more performance than substance. Rogan and Trump just say it out loud, with enough humor and venom to make it unforgettable. By this point, Rogan and Trump have shredded the surface-level image. The Midwest charm, the photo ops, the regular guy routine, all torn apart.
He lost an election. He played a part. You know, usually a vice president doesn't play a part, they say. I think Tim played a part. I think he was so bad that he hurt her. But she hurt herself, and Joe hurt them both. They didn't have a great group, but I would probably put him at the bottom of the group.
Part. But then they go deeper, and this is where the roast turns brutal. First up, education. Walz talks about reforms like he's unveiling the next iPhone. But look closer, and it's basically walking in place for 20 minutes. A lot of noise about equity and opportunity, but the results? Sluggish, tangled, in red tape and full of buzzwords nobody can measure. Rogan compares it to a revolutionary workout program that turns out to be just standing up and sitting down. Great branding, zero results. Trump doesn't let that slide. He acts like he reinvented schools, Trump says, but kids aren't learning, teachers are frustrated, and the system's stuck. It's pathetic. For Trump, education is just another chance to hammer Walz for—
100% right with Tim Walz.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping.
I mean, that guy was almost the vice president of the United States. I'm sure you've seen that thing where it shows Obama saying, I need a vice president that's dumber than me. And then it's Biden, and Biden saying, I need a vice president dumber than me. And it's Kamala saying, I need a vice president dumber than me.
Being all talk, no action. Then comes crime. This is where Rogan really unloads. He paints a picture of Walz trying to stop a house fire with a spray bottle. Stats are climbing, communities are nervous, but Walz responds with speeches about togetherness, resilience, and understanding. As if a heartwarming paragraph is going to stop someone from breaking into your car. Trump doubles down. He treats crime like it's a poetry reading. Nice words, no solutions. People want safety, not bedtime stories. And you can hear the crowd roar. Because it's true. Walz reacts like a politician rehearsing for a press conference, not a leader taking control. And then there's the economy. This one's almost too easy. Rogan laughs at how Walz presents every spending package like it's a groundbreaking fix. But really, it's just taxpayer money duct taped together with buzzwords like transformative and inclusive. Rogan compares it to a yard sale. Everything priced weird, nothing in the right place, and you leave wondering why you even showed up. Trump doesn't hold back either. Minnesota's economy under Walz is like a lawn chair from—
And this other guy who's radical from Minnesota, that's the vice president, who he believes a lot of wild things. One of them is transgender surgery for people who are under 13. Another one is abortion up until 9 months.
A vegan meal that also has bacon. Nobody's happy. Every line hits harder than the last. Rogan tears into Walz's habit of talking slowly, like he's delivering a bedtime story instead of real solutions. Trump slams his reliance on staged events and buzzword-filled announcements. Together, they make Walz's entire career look like a reality show no one asked to watch. And then comes the big one. Walz's national ambitions. Rogan shakes his head. He moves like a small-town mayor trying to headline Madison Square Garden. Out of place, awkward, and way out of his depth. Trump drives it home. This guy thinks because he's got approval ratings in Minnesota, he can run the country. Newsflash: Minnesota's a pond. The White House is the ocean. He's not ready for the tide. By the end, Walz isn't just roasted, he's reduced to ashes. The man who tried to brand himself as a steady, down-to-earth leader is exposed as just another politician in costume. And the audience? They're left with the sharpest truth: survival in politics, much like survival in the wild isn't about staged performances or photo ops, it's about results. And Walz, he doesn't have them.